Torture's been a problem in Bahrain for decades. You might argue it reached a height in 2011 when thousands of people protested against the government. The government responded violently, disproportionately, and in some cases lethally. Hundreds of people were rounded up. Many of those people were tortured systematically. And in response to the international pressure that followed, Bahrain promised to reform, set up institutions, and one of the things those institutions pledged to do was to end torture. The problem that we're finding is that there is no evidence to suggest that these institutions have been effective in ending what was described at the time as a culture of impunity among the security forces. Former detainees have described torture to us. Their stories are vital to documenting the ongoing use of torture in Bahrain.
Our organization here basically fights for human rights. We raise cases and awareness about what's going on the ground in Bahrain. I left Bahrain since 2012. The scars on my forehead is due to beatings by the police. Today, 2015, despite there are human rights institutions created by the government, the conditions of the prisoners is worse.
We've identified a general pattern of mistreatment whereby people are taken from their homes, usually in the middle of the night, by masked men who present no arrest warrants. They're blindfolded, they're taken to detention centres, they're kept in solitary confinement, and then they're subjected to interrogations.
ولا اللي صاب السايق راح فر وجهي، يعني ما كنت أقدر أشوف. حط السكين على العضو، قال لي راح أسأل 3 مرات، وإذا ما اعترفت راح نقطع.
Over the term of the 7 days I was held in the Central Intelligence Directorate, I was beaten. I was forced to stay standing for most of the time, handcuffed to the back, blindfolded. I was stripped naked.
And the purpose of these interrogations is to make them sign what they claim are false confessions.
ليش مطلعينكم؟
عشان يقولون قتلكم.
تقتلونا؟ والله زين.
These confessions are presented to them in the presence of a masked individual, and this process is filmed on cameras.
متأكد؟ متأكد؟
After 2 days of sleep deprivation and after all the beating, I was slipping away. I was starting to hallucinate. I was afraid for my sanity, and I decided I will sign this if just bring me the paper.
أنا يعني خوف لأن أدري إن إذا ما وقعت راح أتعرض للتعذيب مرة ثانية.
There's clearly an issue of torture in Bahrain, but Human Rights Watch is prevented from entering Bahrain to conduct research. The UN Special Rapporteur on Torture has been denied access twice to the country. Bahrain says it doesn't have a problem for torture, so allow the UN Rapporteur, allow the independent expert to go in there, to go into these places of detention and find out once and for all how widespread the problem of torture is in Bahrain.